Brad, awesome. Workshop, IDK, if I'm prepared to do a workshop, but I am prepared to talk about things and maybe we could dive into a little building if we were. This is probably mostly just informative and not like me live building anything. But if we get to that, I'm happy to do that. Thanks for having me. It's like 30 days right now, right? How far are you guys into the 30 days?
We are about 1 week into it, slightly over one week.
Week. Cool, awesome. Good to be at like number 8 or number 9 on the 30 days. Thanks for having me. This is a really cool program. I think that getting people to contribute to open source is an awesome goal, and I'm really excited and thinking a lot more about open source incentives and how we can have like a package JSON that has an ETH address in it, or I've seen recent tweets or recent products like drips.network where they have a funding.json file right in their source code. And I think something like that is really going to start, onboarding and turning devs onto Ethereum when they realize like, oh, I'm not like, I love contributing to open source and I love building things and I'm just naturally like, wanting to do that. But also there's this extra kind of incentivization layer there, and that incentivization layer is powered by Ethereum. So I think that there's some really cool like combo moves there to get into. But here we go. Let me just introduce the Buidl Guild at first and just give you a highlight of what we are up to. We are like a DAO, kind of. A DAO that's just a big multi-sig that distributes grant funding and builds lots of things. I think if you were to think of Buidl Guild, you can kind of think of it in three parts. There's sort of this first part, which is education and onboarding. Then there's this middle part that's kind of like prototyping and shipping. And then there's kind of this third part that is like grant giving. We give a lot of small grants and we stream a lot of money to a lot of public goods. And we ourselves are a public good, and when we receive a large grant from Optimism or the Ethereum Foundation, we then chop that up and give up lots of small grants out to folks that are high impact, up and coming devs that are building in the space. So Buidl Guild, that first piece I was talking about is education. We really are focused on getting people started building on Ethereum, especially if you are a developer already. If you're a Web 2 dev that can, pick up things quickly, you're going to pick up Ethereum quickly, and trust me, you're going to fall in love with it, just like I did. When you start writing your first smart contracts and realizing how you're kind of like programming money on this credibly neutral layer, it's really cool. And there's only certain things that you want to build on this too, right? And that's one thing that we really go into in the speedrun is, and I can jump over to speedrun Ethereum here, is the specific types of things that you might build. This decentralized staking app really is the big aha moment, I hope, for most developers. Like, we have you make a quick NFT example just to kind of like get you started with the tooling, but this challenge right here, this decentralized staking, figuring out like what kinds of things do you build. Power of Ethereum, where you're almost building this app for an adversarial group of players to coordinate, right? They want to coordinate, and you can build those kind of tools, and they can run on this really nice platform that basically keeps them up all the time, right? There's never any downtime. Anyone has access from anywhere in the world, and the only thing you have to trust is the code, and the code's going to do exactly what it's supposed to do. So as a builder, this is a really fun platform to build on. I'm assuming most people are kind of exposed to Ethereum here, and we're talking more about open source development and how to get started on open source dev. So one thing I want to show is like the Buidl Guild's batch program. So as people go through speedrun Ethereum, we have these batches that we bring people into, and I think that this format is something that everyone could look at. Asking Carlos, what have we learned so far as we've brought people through these batches? We've realized that there's some manners that you have to kind of learn, right? And it's just like simple stuff of like how to coordinate with someone within a GitHub repo, how to make a pull request, how to put an issue up, or how to fix an issue, or like these manners around if I go to an open source repo and I, comment on a bunch of these issues that I'm working on it, but then I don't work on it. There's a lot of manners and some subtleties there. One of the favorite things is this document right here. I don't even know. Is there like a chat that I can YOLO these links into? Let's see. I bet there's a chat here somewhere. There it is. I think I found it. Yep. Found it. Got it. Yeah. Okay. Oh, there's a whole chat here. GM. Thank you. Let me scroll back up, make sure there's not anything I'm missing too much. Shoot. Yeah, I missed the chat, but I got it now. Let me YOLO in some early links too. So we got Buidl Guild. We got Speedrun Ethereum, decentralized staking app. Both of those are good. But that very first one I posted is this gist that my little brother made, actually, when we forced him to come in and start contributing to Buidl Guild and Scaffold ETH. Oh, which one's 404ing? Hopefully not that gist. Oh, it totally is 404ing. Oh no, what did I do? Did I copy it wrong? Let's go back. Let me find it again. Too many tabs. Here it is. Wait. Yeah, okay, so it's this. What did I do wrong? Let me try again. There we go. Wesley's got me. Thank you. It's written by my little brother, who we forced to get in and contribute, and he was like, "How the hell do I make a pull request? Like, how? What do you mean I have to fork the code?" There's a handful of just like Git things, and really it's like 4 things you have to learn, right? But once you learn those 4 things, you are off to the races, contributing to Git repos, and you realize that like GitHub is really this really powerful tool, right? I mean, like, of course, it's really powerful for you as a coder committing your code and having it, in version control. But there's almost this like multiplayer thing that happens with GitHub and PRs and open source. And I think that now, as Ethereum is really catching wind here, I think that it's going to be like the incentivization layer to all of this, right? And I think that's really exciting and powerful. So one of the first builds I tell builders to go do is like go, make your own command line script and learn how to write scripts. Let's see, let me jump to this. Right, learn how to build your own CLI, but also you should be running your own node. And you should be learning how to perhaps drop. Let's see. Let's go out on a cliff here and say you should learn how to write a VM script that mints a token. Ooh, the chart. Yes, I'll get back to the chart. Sorry. This is just a quick challenge. You should write a VM script that mints a token to anybody who successfully put a PR that got merged in. And maybe even you could make it like 3 stages and you get more tokens for a bigger PR or something like that. Of course, you have to be very careful with all of these incentives because people will play the game. But as a developer, just get started how you can write Ethereum smart contracts and scripts that provide incentives for open source developers, and kind of getting the flywheel going for, I'm contributing to open source because I love it, but it's really nice to have an extra little incentive that's kicked my way every time I accomplish something awesome or get a PR merged. And you as a developer should be able to quickly write a token, right? If you've gone through Speedrun Ethereum up there in the links, I think a token vendor is like the second challenge. So you'll easily have that once you go through Speedrun Ethereum. But being able to mint that token based on GitHub actions using the GitHub API is just another kind of interface with GitHub that I think that Ethereum will end up being a multiplier on. So let's see, Scaffold ETH now. Okay, so let's talk about this tech tree in a second that I was just looking at, but let's just talk about the journey as you come in. You start building on Ethereum, you go through, and you really have to get kind of down the Dunning-Kruger effect, which is sort of like you think you know everything at the start, and you're like just about to just like ship some protocol that's going to make you rich, and then you realize that there's just so much more to learn about Ethereum, and it's a quite a complex technology, but it's a new type of computing and it's really powerful. And you kind of need to get in and build a bunch of these things to really understand it. Even though you think you understand it, trust me, like keep going, keep learning, keep building, and you're going to find that there's a lot more kind of underneath the abstractions. So building a DEX, learning about kind of state channels and signed messages and how signed messages could be used for different off-chain things, but also signed messages can settle on-chain in like a multi-sig wallet or a smart contract wallet, kind of leading you to AA, right? That's like the starter kit for AA. I always also tell people kind of in this tech tree that a really good first build, once you're done with everything else, is to build a smart contract with an admin function that just executes whatever call data you give it if you're the admin. And then you spend a lot of time in the front end in VM or in WAGMI basically crafting call data that you send to your smart contract wallet, and then that executes it. Sorry, we're going so far into getting started with Ethereum, but I think it's kind of like in line with the GitHub stuff. I think we're doing both, like how do you get it started on Ethereum, but also how do you contribute to open source. I promise I will get to that. So after you kind of get through your education, you're going to jump in and maybe use some tooling like Scaffold ETH. And Scaffold ETH is just a really nice way to tinker with your smart contract and have a front end all built in. It's kind of like offline remix that's just a lot cleaner. You can get it started with npx create ETH, or you can just clone the repo and fork it and go build something. It has all the things like network handling and wallets and a lot of handy components like displaying an address or an amount, and then just like a ton of hooks from WAGMI. And we even wrap the WAGMI hooks and make it even simpler. So this use scaffold contract write is an example of how you can write to the contract, and you really only need like these three things. And then you call that write function on click and it happens. So yes, Scaffold ETH makes it really easy to prototype and build an app that you can put in your users' hands, but also lets you kind of like have this raw interface of, you know, poking at your contract and making sure it does what it needs to do along the way. Okay, so now you've gone through the speed run, you understand Solidity, you understand like building on Ethereum, you understand what to build on Ethereum along with how, and then you kind of pick up Scaffold ETH and you start tinkering and prototyping and trying things. But maybe you haven't found like your exact project and you'd like to dig into GitHub, right? Find other apps that are open source, that are building on Ethereum or building anything that you're interested in, and get in there and follow this contribution guide. I'm going to paste it again. It's so good. Here we go. This contribution guide is going to take you through how you would go about forking a repo, making a change, creating a PR, getting that PR into GitHub, and then finally getting it merged from someone else. That this is like the 101 for how to contribute to an open source repo. So read through that and go through it. And one thing that Carlos said when I was just talking to him was like practice. And I didn't, this isn't clear, but if you're going to work on an open source repo, let's say you want to go help with Ethereum.org, they'll be up to talk in a second, or you want to go help with Scaffold ETH or any of these open source repos, you will need to have some practice. And so what you could do is just set up your own GitHub repo that's public, make a to-do list or something simple, and then create your own PRs, or have a friend create their PRs, or other way around. Ask a friend if you could create a PR on their repo just to try things. Put an issue in. Just try basically coordinating around a GitHub repo without all the other stuff around it with communication, right? Make the GitHub repo your form of communication, and you'll learn to get really good at contributing to open source. So we take people through like all these different issues, and we have them kind of just try things and learn from them. And then we have these batches of builders that come through, and they end up like making PRs to this one repo, and they kind of make this shared repo together. They have this experience of just how, what it's like to get started contributing, just to get their feet wet and learn things. And then on the other side, we do lots of stuff. This is kind of more of a shill. We support a lot of builders, right? Open source builders that are building cool things. We're streaming to in a lot of ways. We're giving small grants to. We're always looking to try to support up and coming high impact devs, but the best place to get started with us is to go through that speed run there. Okay, let's talk about next steps. Let's get into this thing. Let me zoom in on this. So first of all, I talked about speedrun Ethereum, right? But then there's a lot of really fun things you can get into to kind of like keep going, where you can kind of just sharpen your knowledge by continuing to build. Building your own CLI is an obvious one. Like go to VM and build just like a simple tool that maybe listens to the chain and tells you how many new transactions were in that last block. And out of all those transactions, how many of them talk to Uniswap v2 or something like that. And just from that, you can have like this little window of like what prices are like with tokens and what people are trading them for. And by the way, if you get in and you start writing a script that interfaces with Uniswap v2, you're going to be interfacing with one of the most beautiful hyperstructures known to man. Spend some time with Uniswap v2. It is a beautiful hyperstructure. It is this factory contract that does routing for swapping between tokens, but basically you have this public good that's available for anyone, and you can swap any tokens to any tokens inside of this Spark contract. And the fees are expansive in a way where they incentivize LPs to have more liquidity locked in, which makes swapping better. There's just so many cool parts of the Uniswap v2 architecture, and its simplicity and beauty that I think is really what I'm leaning into. If you get into Uniswap v3, it starts to get way more complicated on the developer experience. But just spend some time like writing some scripts that talk to Uniswap v2, and it's going to go, oh, I get what's going on here. Oh my goodness, I can do all these different things, and there's all this kind of different liquidity between these tokens, and there's so much cool stuff about the hyperstructure that is Uniswap v2, and build your own CLI that interfaces with it. And then, there's stuff like randomness and learning how randomness works. There's stuff like price feeds and oracles. Once you have your exchange and a price feed, you can start talking about decentralized lending, which starts to get really sticky, and you kind of have leverage and all those scary things that you probably don't want to be messing with, but it's out there. Then if you want to get really nerdy, right, start looking at ZK and Circom starter kits, and there's tons of different repos out there that you can go, look at their issues that they're, as you're learning from them. Maybe you find that a tutorial isn't quite good enough, or you spent days and days and days to have this one aha moment that you wish you could give to people up front, and go make your own content and get it out there. Like crypto Twitter is the spot. Like just make something and put it out on Twitter, and if it's good, you'll get some eyeballs. Lots of things. Go run your own node. You should definitely be running your own node. I know it sounds weird and scary, but oh man, if I had my video up in the background, I have my validators running, and it's really nerdy. You've got like the CLI streaming by. You don't have to have 32 ETH to run your own node. That's only a validator. If you're writing any of these CLI or these scripts, you're probably going to be talking to Alchemy or some other RPC service. And let's say you wanted to just get a whole bunch of events or crawl through a whole bunch of blocks. You're going to get rate limited on Alchemy pretty quick. But if you're running your own node, it's so cool. You just point that thing at localhost, and your script is going to run so fast because it's just talking to your local node, and your local node is talking peer-to-peer to 50 other Ethereum nodes. Yeah, Ethereum.org, run a node. Good drop, Luca. That's what I'm talking about. Definitely shout out to the Ethereum.org dudes and their transformation over the last couple years. Ethereum.org is a beautiful resource with so much good information. Is it possible to travel? Yeah, I guess you could have a node and you could travel. Like I can't wait until I get one of those new Macs that has a big enough hard drive and everything where I could be running like a full-on Reth archive node. But yeah, if you're traveling, every time you get to a new place and plug in, that thing's going to have to sync and download a whole bunch of blocks. So it's kind of nice just to have a home box that's running, that's on the internet all the time. If you are dropping on and off, you certainly can't run a validator in that situation. You can run a node, but it'll have to sync back up. But all these little things about nodes and connecting to them and opening ports and all that stuff, like go do it, go build it, go set it up. And then build an indexer and build a bunch of things. Build a script that like talks to your node and finds out, this is kind of the start of the mempool, and you can see what transactions are about to execute, and you can learn about front running. And I think there was this really cool NFT where if you minted it after it had been sitting for a long time, I can't remember what it was called, but you could front run it, and it was really fun to do. And I think just learning how to front run and learning how the mempool works is another aha moment for how all this stuff works, leading you to MEV and getting in deeper. Also, EVM from scratch from Winter. Obviously, the Ethernaut is huge. I hear a lot of people who still say Crypto Zombies is working for them. That's great. Whatever works, whatever you learn from, go there, learn those things. Curta, as you get better, there's some really good programs out there. A couple years ago, along with the shout out for the Ethereum.org guys, another place that is really matured is the auditing space. A couple years ago, it was so super hard to get any kind of audit, and it's still hard, but it's so much better with these protocols that are building kind of these two-sided markets of I'm an auditor that wants to learn, or I'm a prototype, or I'm a protocol that needs an auditor, and they're kind of matching people and doing this kind of open, very like Ethereum-like ecosystem, very cool stuff. And now we see so many more auditors and so many more folks that are in there in the weeds, writing assembly Solidity and stuff. There's so many cool new nerds in the space because of these programs. I think that's about it for me. There's probably some things I'm missing, but very open to questions. I gotta jump in a second, but also shout out to Wesley for inviting me in. Shout out to the Ethereum.org dudes. One last plug would just be go speedrun Ethereum. Go build stuff on Ethereum and reach out. I'm this dude on Twitter, Austin Griffith, @AustinGriffith. Cool. Awesome. All right. Any other questions? Anything else? Sorry if I just like rambled and I was supposed to do that more open-ended.
No, this was amazing. Absolutely awesome. Okay, I'm just going through chat. I don't see any particular questions, just people talking about running node stuff. Oh, do you have a link to the chart? Could you share that?
Here it comes. So it's on buildguild.com, but here's the actual. So one meme that we're trying to build this year is the Ethereum dev tech tree, or some kind of like next steps beyond the speed run. And we've been trying to build a tech tree for a while, but it's complicated and it's coming together in pieces. But it will sort of be like a much cleaner, cuter version of this Miro board. But for now, you can have the raw Miro board and run with it.
Amazing. We have a question. If you were to start looking for a Web3 dev job in 2024, how would you go about it?
I would start building things and showing them off on Twitter. Like straight up, figure out what's interesting right now and build something that would get a like, and keep building those small things for a little bit to build up your presence. And then pretty soon things will really start to fall into place. It's interesting when we think about jobs in Web3. If you're waiting for someone's permission, you're doing it wrong. Like, you should go find the thing you want to build and build it and show it off. You should go to the organization you want to work in and figure out what things are hard problems for them and start working on those things and show them off to them. There's just a huge community on Twitter and Farcaster where if you just build something and show it off and build something and show it off, it's going to sharpen your skills, but also be a huge combo move and kind of create your own persona online and help you kind of get started getting noticed. But once you're noticed and you're building cool things, it all kind of falls together. Hopefully you don't get a job. Hopefully you build a protocol or you make something or you know what I'm saying? Like if you get stuck building someone else's thing, like maybe there's even a bigger world for you out there. But also like build other people's things first, right? It's very helpful to kind of get your bearings.
100%. I just want to add, like, when we kicked off this event as well, our main goal was like people who might have been learning about this stuff through Speedrun, through Buidl Guild, through Learn Web3, anywhere else. The entire purpose of On-Chain Squad is the reason we want you to do open source is to sort of step out of that tutorial hell or comfort zone and like go contribute to projects. Austin, I don't even know if you remember, but I got my start in Ethereum 2018. You were the judge at ETH Waterloo 2 who judged our project. I don't even know if you remember that at all.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Like, do hackathons, do open source work. That's just build stuff. Yeah.
Edda on Buidl Guild said that she had a tweet a long time ago that, and it's something that I already said here, but I want to just like reiterate it, that if you want to get started building something in Ethereum, you should just go do it. Like you should find the thing that needs to be done and do it. And don't be asking people's permission, and just get it done. And by doing that, you will attract the right attention that you're looking for in terms of getting a job and being productive and creating cool things in Web3.
Awesome.
Permissionless. I like Wesley said permissionless. That's awesome. Yep, go ahead.
Yeah, hey Austin, I do have a question. Yeah, first of all, big fan. Yeah, so I do have a question regarding how do you cope up with things going on inside the whole industry. Okay, I've learned ERC20, okay, but there is now ERC2612. I need to learn that permit signature thing, and then now again I've learned that, oh, now there is permit 2 by Uniswap, so I need to learn that. So, this industry is changing so frequently that it's pretty hard to cope up with things. So, what's your suggestions on that?
Yeah, I don't know what that second one was that you mentioned, if that makes you feel any better. Like there's so many different token standards that I try to pay attention to. First of all, like where are the biggest problems? And if we look at that, I would say that like account abstraction is like a very needed thing. So then I'm digging into what is 4344, what is 33074, whatever they are. Yeah. So I'm digging into those. And then also I'm looking at which ones are about to hit mainnet. Like 4844 blob space stuff is about to hit mainnet. So I'm spending some time looking at those. That's basically the only two areas I'm looking at. Or if just like all of crypto Twitter is talking about an EIP, I'm going to go look at it. But basically, unless it's like an area in like that I'm specifically trying to like target because there's a problem, or if it's something that's about to drop to mainnet, or it's something that people are talking about on Twitter, if it's not one of those three things, I probably don't know the EIP. And there's so many things going on because anybody can create an EIP that like there's always going to be a ton of noise, and you should focus on the things that are getting users and the things that are shipping and not worry about all of the other stuff.
Yeah, I think that's helpful. Thank you.
Cool. I got a dip. Hearts, you guys. Hearts to the web. Learn Web3 guys. Hearts to the Ethereum.org guys. Hearts to all y'all, guys and girls. See you guys later. Hit me up on Twitter. Buidl Guild. Really hearts.
Amazing. Perfect. That was great. Okay. Give me 1 second while I stop and restart.